one of the most dramatic stories of human transformation in today's first reading. The conversion of Saul to St. Paul. What a transformation from a zealous persecutor of the church to a zealous preacher of the gospel. Not just that, he would write 2/3 of the New Testament. That's a long way to go. From a persecutor of the church, one who hated Christ and the Christians, going all the way to preach about him and write a good news about him, 2/3 of the New Testament. In case anybody has got doubt in the resurrection of Jesus, just think of St. Paul. If you doubt whether there was really the resurrection of Jesus, just think about Paul. Paul is a wonderful testimony to the risen Lord. Having that vision of the risen Lord changed Saul into St. Paul, a complete heart and mind transplantation, so to say. What is the message for you and me? First of all, never write off anybody. Looking at somebody's life or what they have been, what they are. No, don't write off anybody. The Lord can change that person the way we can imagine, the way we can't imagine. Nobody is beyond his embrace, beyond his plan, or beyond his power. Second thought is, think about what happened to Paul after his experience of the risen Lord. Look at some of the words Paul writes about his experience or knowledge of Jesus. At the Philippians 3:13, Lord Jesus took possession of me. That's a good word. Lord Jesus took possession of me. As he became possessed by the Lord, and then his entire preoccupation and thought and mind and everything all about Jesus, he was possessed. So that's what he uses. He took possession of me, completely occupy my heart and my soul. Nothing left of myself, everything filled with him, everything filled for him, completely occupied by Jesus. Doesn't say, I no longer live, but Jesus alone lives in me. That is about spiritual transformation. Now, coming to the gospel, the message is the same. The Holy Eucharist has to transform us, maybe slowly, eventually, into the person of Christ. I think it was again St. Augustine who said, you become what you eat. You become what you receive. So by receiving the Lord in every Mass, we are supposed to have this transformation. In the words of one of my professors of moral theology, Father Thomas, who was here years ago, salvation is all about growing up into the image of Christ. Growing up. With every Mass, we are supposed to, having this bread of life, to grow into the image of Jesus. So we have to measure our spiritual growth in terms of how far am I like Jesus? With every communion, with every Mass, Am I growing up? I would say putting on some spiritual weight, spiritually inside. And you feel, yes, I'm not there yet, but getting nearer. I'm becoming more compassionate and kind and merciful, self-giving, self-sacrificing. So, not yet on the cross, but I'm nearly there, nearly there. The image of Christ, I'm growing up to that image. My salvation is, I think I am slowly getting there to being saved. Salvation, the image of Christ. We all pray for that grace. Lord, help me to know you more deeply, to love you more dearly, and to be walking with you all the time so nearly.